Namaste everyone and welcome back to my channel Grihalo. Today we will be discussing about a very important subject. A lot of my clients ask about this: how to effectively do matchmaking. How to arrive at a conclusion whether the married life with a particular person will be good or not. Now, I always step away from the traditional Milan system because in my humble opinion that does not work. That never gives you the full picture. I follow my own 3 steps, 3 methods through which I come to a successful conclusion whether the married life between 2 couples will be successful or not. The first is using the Bhrigu Nandi Nadi technique, the second is using the D9 technique, and the third is using the handwriting technique. I employ all the 3 simultaneously. So let us break it down. I'll try and make you understand all these techniques one by one so that you yourself can apply them in your charts to figure out a successful outcome. Let's start with the technique 1, which is the Bhrigu Nandi Nadi technique. Now, in the case of a boy, in Bhrigu Nandi Nadi, you see your wife from the planet Venus. Now, the yatra and the yuti of Venus will determine the circumstances, the background your wife will come from, and what would be her journey with you. Any involvement of malefic planets in the yatra of Venus denotes troubles in the married life. Whether that troubles could be overcome or not, that depends on the nature of the planet, like what house the planet is sitting in and what is the trinal connection with that particular house in which the yatra is taking place. Now I will explain this with an example. Say suppose you are a boy and you have your Venus placed in the 7th house. Now, what you need to look is you need to check the 3rd and the 11th house as well. Because 3rd and the 11th house, that is the trine to your natal position of Venus. That will determine the background of your spouse, the culture, the financial condition, and all the other subtle nuances that your wife carries, that the quality your wife carries. The yatra of Venus will determine her journey in your life. How will your life will be with her and what kind of experiences she is bound to face with you in this lifetime. The better the yatra of Venus, the better your married life will be. If there are planets like Jupiter, Sun, or even Saturn ahead of Venus, that means it will give you prosperity, it will give you expansion, it will give you work-related progress in your fields. Whereas planets like Moon, planets like Ketu, Mars, they are not necessarily always good. Especially if Moon and Ketu are there. Mars still depends if there is involvement of Ketu ahead of it or Jupiter ahead of it. That changes the entire equation. Now again, there is no ballpark or a permanent principle that you can apply to your chart because every chart varies, every chart has a unique stamp code. But generally speaking, if there are good planets with good yutis in the yatra of Venus, your married life will be good. Similarly, in the case of a girl, you need to check the yatra of Mars and the 10th house from Mars. The 10th house from Mars basically denotes the profession of your husband. And the yatra of Mars will determine your journey, the experiences your husband will face in this lifetime with you. This is again a very important parameter for all the girls looking out for the prospective matches with them. The involvement of Ketu just right ahead of Mars is not a good sign for marriage. Unless and until your husband is involved in the profession related to Ketu. Or there are naturally very good yogas being formed involving Ketu in the yatra of Mars. So again, you need to check and analyze each and every chart very minutely to be able to figure out if the match will be successful or not. Again, very, very important thing to remember is if a husband charts promises a good marriage, that does not take the fact away if he marries the girl. You don't need 2 charts to confirm a good married life. How is it possible that a husband is destined to have a good married life and he spends that life with a person having a bad married life? It is fundamentally not possible. The person who is destined to have a good married life will attract a spouse who will have a good married life. So In most of the cases, a second horoscope is not even required if you can successfully conclude from the first chart whether the married life is good or not. Now that depends on your skills, how successfully you can see a chart to predict whether the person will be having a good married life or not. Now, coming to the Navamsa principle that you need to check in your chart as well as the girl's chart. You need to check the rising of both the charts in the D9. Say suppose you are a boy and you have a Leo rising, and the girl also has a Leo rising in the D9 chart. Such a match is a brilliant match. It's a very good match. Similarly, the rising of your D9 chart and the rising of the girl's D9 chart should not be in a 6-8 relation or a 2-12 relation. This usually has not worked well in all my past readings, and such natives have experienced a lot of troubles in their married life. So be very careful and aware while matching both the charts that the Navamsa rising should be compatible. Now, another very important thing, a myth that most of the people fear is the Manglik Dosh. Now here, I would like to take 2-3 minutes of yours and make you understand what Manglik Dosh is. See, in the texts, in the ancient literature, there is no mention of Manglik Dosh. There is nothing called Manglik Dosh. It is just that by the sheer placement of Mars and the nature of Mars, if it is present in the 1st house, 4th house, 7th house, 8th house or 12th house, it naturally tends to influence the 7th house, which is the house of marriage. And since Mars is an aggressive planet, hot planet, it increases the intensity, it increases the fire element in those houses. So that is the reason why it is advised to marry a Manglik, so that the fire intensity between the two couples matches. That is the main logic behind the Manglik Dosh. Alone placement of Mars cannot dictate whether a married life would be successful or not. This is not as important a point in consideration that people make it out to be. I'm not saying this should be ignored, but this should not be given the absolute paramount importance. Also, with the placement of Mars, you need to see if there is involvement of Ketu or not, because the involvement of Ketu here is the biggest culprit. That is the real deal breaker in a marriage, or the planet that causes maximum troubles in the marriage. Now again, this will not cause troubles in all the charts, provided if either of the couple is using Ketu properly. They are in the fields like chartered accountancy, doctor, or they are in the field in which they are utilizing their Ketu. In such charts, it has been observed, it has been seen that married life sails smoothly. So you need to consider it very carefully. Now, coming to the handwriting analysis. Now, this is the most interesting part. It reveals so much about the spouse, the nature, the compatibility between the two couple that even horoscope misses out on such details. I, in my readings, definitely incorporate the handwriting analysis and the signature analysis between the two couples, and this has always given me fabulous results. My consultations are open. People who want to get their charts checked from all the 3 vidhas, from all the 3 principles that I follow for effective matchmaking to ensure whether you will be having a successful married life or not, you can WhatsApp to me on the number which is flashing on the screen, or you can head over to my website directly for booking a consultation. I'll be more than happy to help you out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful and it gave you a lot of insights as to what all practices you need to follow while doing effective matchmaking and what all things you should refrain from. Thank you so much. Over to the next one. Bye-bye.